Welcome to the Innovation World Young Collaborator podcast series. My name is Siddharth Vikram. I am 11 years old and I live in Carlisle, Massachusetts.
And my name is Maxwell Miller. I am 10 years old and I live in Lewis Center, Ohio.
We are delighted to have you here and would like to ask you some questions. First of all, please tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Nick Briere. I am the director of the Connecticut Invention Convention, a K-12 invention and innovation nonprofit that runs K-12 innovation education programming that I went through when I was a kid. 22 years ago, and really set off my excitement and passion for innovation and innovation education, and have been part of this ecosystem since I first participated.
Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur, a teacher, an engineer? Which one of those do you mostly consider yourself?
I would consider myself to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, if so, what is what is one of your inventions or innovations?
Well, when I was a kid, my very first invention was an invention called the message light. And it was at the time, a rather inventive concept. I used an RFID reader to automatically turn on the light when I sat up in my bunk bed and would automatically turn off when I sat down, because I liked to read books when I was going to sleep, but I didn't want to go all the way down the ladder, walk all the way across the room to turn off the light. And I also got nightmares frequently, so if I woke up in the middle of the night startled, the light would turn on right out of the gate. So that was kind of the first iteration, and perhaps many different concepts later, I founded a grants consulting firm several years ago, which has grown very quickly, which helps a variety of institutions navigate the grants and fundraising landscape.
How helpful do you think the Invention Convention has been?
For me personally, it's been transformative. I mean, it's quite frankly the beginning of the journey that led me to my entire identity, both professionally and even personally.
Wow, Max, do you have any questions to ask him?
What led you to becoming the director of the Connecticut Invention Convention?
Well, as you guys heard, participated in this program for 8 years as a kid. After that, I was too old, so I was a volunteer for 4 years. I actually wrote the operating manual for this organization when I was in college more than 10 years ago. Out of college, I launched the National Invention Convention, which is the national competition that we send kids to. Then about 4 years ago, I decided to return to where my roots were to take a leadership role here at the CIC. So my near entirety of my career has been Invention Convention.
What inspired you to do what you do every day?
You and all of the inventors like you.
So, do you have any more questions?
I have another question. So, what is your most prized innovation or achievement you have had?
My most prized accomplishment is probably that the Connecticut Invention Convention has recently acquired the Massachusetts Invention Convention and will be shortly announcing its newly regional status as a nonprofit that exists to serve inventors not just within the corners of Connecticut but beyond.
What role do you think that innovators, engineers, and teachers have in society?
In society? Well, they're responsible for the next generation. And so they quite literally define the future.
Wow. Thank you. Well, I guess you have to be over there.
Yeah, I'm being paged, so.
Well, I thank you so much for coming here, and I really appreciated it.
Thank you for joining us here for this podcast, and thank you for joining us on the Invention World Young Collaborators podcast series.